Doa was holding onto the side of the boat as it sank and watched in horror as a small child was cut to pieces by the propeller. Bassem said to her, "Please let go or you'll be swept in and the propeller will kill you too." And remember, she can't swim. But she let go and she started moving her arms and her legs thinking this is swimming, and miraculously, Bassem found a life ring. It was one of those child's rings that used to play in swimming pools and on calm seas. And Doa climbed onto the ring, her arms and her legs dangling by the side. Bassem was a good swimmer, so he held her hand and tread water. Around them there were corpses. Around 100 people survived initially, and they started coming together in groups, praying for rescue. But when a day went by and no one came, some people gave up hope. And Doa and Bassem watched as men in the distance took their life vests off and sank into the water. One man approached them with a small baby perched on his shoulder, 9 months old, Malik. He was holding onto a gas canister to stay afloat. And he said to them, "I fear I am not going to survive. I'm too weak. I don't have the courage anymore." And he handed little Malik over to Bassem and to Doa, and they perched her onto the life ring. So now they were 3, Doa, Bassem, and little Malik. And let me take a pause in this story right here and ask the question, why do refugees like Doa take these kind of risks? Millions of refugees are living in exile, in limbo. They're living in countries from a war that has been raging for 4 years. Even if they wanted to return, they can't. Their homes, their businesses, their towns, and their cities have been completely destroyed. This is a UNESCO World Heritage City, Homs, in Syria. So people continue to flee into neighboring countries. And we build refugee camps for them in the desert. Hundreds of thousands of people live in camps like these, and thousands more, millions, live in towns and cities. And the communities, the neighboring countries that once welcomed them with open arms and hearts are overwhelmed. There's simply not enough schools, water systems, sanitation. Even rich European countries could never handle such an influx without massive investment. The Syria war has driven almost 4 million people over the borders, but over 7 million people are on the run inside the country. That means that over half the Syrian population has been forced to flee. And back to those neighboring countries hosting so many, they feel that the richer world has done too little to support them. And days have turned into months, months into years. A refugee's stay is supposed to be temporary. Back to Doa and Bassem in the water. It was their second day, and Bassem was getting very weak. And now it was Doa's turn to say to Bassem, "My love, please hold on to hope, to our future. We will make it." And he said to her, "I'm sorry, my love, that I put you in this situation. I have never loved anyone as much as I love you." And he released himself into the water. And Doa watched as the love of her life drowned before her eyes. Later that day, a mother came up to Doa with her small 18-month-old daughter, Masa. This was the little girl I showed you in the picture earlier with the life vests. Her older sister, Sandra, had just drowned, and her mother knew she had to do everything in her power to save her daughter. And she said to Doa, "Please take this child Let her be part of you. I will not survive. And then she went away and drowned. So Doa, the 19-year-old refugee who was terrified of the water, who couldn't swim, found herself in charge of 2 little baby kids. And they were thirsty, and they were hungry, and they were agitated. And she tried her best to amuse them, to sing to them, to say words to them from the Quran. Around them, the bodies were bloating and turning black. The sun was blazing during the day. At night, there was a cold moon and fog. It was very frightening. And the 4th day in the water, this is how Doa probably looked on the ring with her 2 children. A woman came on the 4th day and approached her and asked her to take another child, a little boy, just 4 years old. When Doa took the little boy and the mother drowned, she said to the sobbing child, "She just went away to find you water and food." But his heart soon stopped, and Doa had to release the little boy into the water. Later that day, she looked up into the sky with hope because she saw 2 planes crossing in the sky, and she waved her arms, hoping they would see her, but the planes were soon gone. But that afternoon, as the sun was going down, she saw a boat, a merchant vessel, and she said, "Please, God, let them rescue me." She waved her arms, and she felt like she shouted for about 2 hours, and it had become dark. But finally, the searchlights found her, and they extended a rope, astonished to see a woman clutching onto 2 babies. They pulled them onto the boat, they got oxygen and blankets, and a Greek helicopter came to pick them up and take them to the island of Crete. But Doa looked down and asked, "What of Malik?" And they told her the little baby did not survive. She drew her last breath in the boat's clinic. But Doa was sure that as they had been pulled up onto the rescue boat, that little baby girl had been smiling. Only 11 people survived that wreck of the 500. There was never an international investigation into what happened. There was some media reports about mass murder at